Welcome to the Tabletop Call-In Show. It is December 27th, 2021. Hopefully you are here with us as we start 2 hours late due to reasons. I am Adam Bell, as always. I am joined by a very special person, Santa Claus. Does the same joke work 2 days in a row? Yes, it does.
Because
It's
it's
a
two
different
different shows. Glad you were there. Ho, ho, ho.
I love this beard. It's such a bizarro beard. Like, what's whoever manufactured this didn't think to include a spot for the mouth or anything like that. No mustache, just curls, pure curls.
Well, I think it can be, but it's not around my ear, so it's not gonna stay.
Well, anyway, yeah. Santa Claus is here. It is 2 days after Christmas. Christmas has come and gone. If you're a Christmas type of person, I hope you enjoyed your holiday. Whatever that means to you. What's up, Jeremy? I haven't done
What's up,
introduction,
everyone?
but I figured we could just chat and then do that stodgy stuff.
Yeah, it's good. I got Christmas presents from my partner's family.
Wow.
Got these Sharpie gel pens.
Great.
Got the Sharpie Magnum thing.
That's a big boy.
Yeah, it's batteries.
Your office is stocked. That is the meaning.
Yeah, it's a good haul. It's a good haul for sure. Oh, I also got this fucking thing. Not from hold on.
I'm waiting with bated breath as we get to see what this fucking thing is. Jeremy has left the screen for the audio viewer, presumably headed all the way back to... Oh, here we are. That's Season 1... Dice Throne. Season 1 rerolled.
Yeah.
That looks like a big box.
It comes with 8 heroes.
And I guess these are big heroes.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. It's inspiration for the box set for Umbral Dive.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. What
did you get for Christmas / holiday?
Really just a couple of books. I haven't done much family stuff because reasons, like COVID reasons. Yeah. A lot of that. But in the mail from my partner's family, I received a couple of books that I asked for. One of which is, you can't see this, Debt, the First 5,000 Years. I'm learning about how money started.
Ooh.
It's very interesting so far. Which is to say, I've read 2 chapters because I'm getting a head start on 2022 being another year in which I read books. The last year I had like that was 2018, I think.
3-year hiatus.
I've read books since, but not a lot of books. But I want to get back to it. I want to get back to shooting for a book a week and then, falling a little bit short of that, but still reading a lot of books. This stuff that needs to go in this little brain.
Yeah. Gotta get our brains even wrinklier. You know what I'm saying?
A new fold
More
a week.
folds. Yeah, new fold a week.
I'm going to send
Reminder
my
to everyone...
fractal mode.
Remember it's call-in day, so go get in the queue line.
Yeah, and if you are in the queue, which somebody is, we will get to you after we stop dithering. But I'm not.
We're not dithering. Do you see how handsome you are? There's no dithering here.
I think you can be handsome and also dither.
I don't know. Time kind of stands still when you're beautiful.
Wow, interesting. So if you're beautiful, you're effectively immortal and have to stay in the same moment for eternity.
And that's why they invented tanning beds. Charge stations for the beautiful.
Anyway, I am Adam Bell. You can find me on Twitter at AdamEBell. You can get my games at adamebell.games. They're all on sale still, so go get all of them if you don't have them. Or just one of them if you don't have it. I don't know. Or nothing. They're also there for free if you don't have money. I've got a Kickstarter coming up for Legend Has It. It is a card game where you're going to sit around, and I think I want to lean into marketing the fact that you're just kind of telling stories, like old-fashioned style. You're not doing scenes. You're not doing any of that. You're sitting around, and you're telling stories, and it's nice. Grasping Nettles, hopefully coming out this week. I'm going to put my name on that digitally, coming out this week, along with the Grasping Nettles Game Design Guide. You can read me blabbing on for, I believe, 7 letter-sized pages about the different design decisions made in that game. Jeremy, get your introduction. Let's get to some calls.
Yeah, I'm Jeremy Gage. You can find me at JeremyGage5 over on Twitter. You can check out the Draw Your Dice podcast and go to at Draw Your Dice Pod, where all podcasts are distributed, or all major platforms, I suppose. And also working on Umbral Dive, which you can check out if you want to hear like ad nauseum the current state of mechanics. You can go check out Spencer Campbell's Coffee Break VOD that's up on YouTube right now with Gila RPGs / Gila Boy / Spencer Campbell. You'll find it. It's out there.
Google any number of those words and it'll happen.
Gila RPGs. Gila RPG. Twitch.tv / Gila RPG. I think that's probably the best one. And I also want to give a quick shout out to everyone in the chat here. So hello Viditya, hello Ty, hello MV, hello Raph. That's what I got so far. But there are a lot of you out there if you're lurking. Also, thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
And this is another check-in, week 3. Let me know if the stream is choppy. I'm hoping I've handled it. But if I haven't, I'd like to know about it. Because it drives me nuts. I don't know if it drives anybody else nuts, but for me, the idea that it's choppy and I freeze like this every 10 seconds makes me nuts. Let's drag in our first caller, huh? It's still choppy. Oh. What the heck? I'm using a whole different program. I'm not setting my video. I changed settings in Twitch. This sucks. Hey, Twitch, if you're listening, what the hell?
What's going on, Chief?
I'm migrating platforms.
YouTube Live. Everyone come to the call-in show, YouTube Live. All right, we've burned 7 minutes on conjecture. Let's get the call-in happening.
Burned? Yeah, let's do that. Hello, welcome to the Tabletop Call-in show. Who are we talking to on this fine day?
It's MV. MV over here.
Hey, what's going
Hey,
on?
MV.
Welcome back.
It's pretty good. I've timed the muting of the Twitch stream with joining the call perfectly, so it just feels really good to just like not have any doubling of time or losing time.
Perfect time.
It's the perfect time.
You're a chronomancer.
It's the perfect time.
So yeah.
What's happening?
What's on your mind? What's your question?
Yeah,
what's going on?
What's going on? Yeah, it's a good question. I made like a little note for myself to not forget.
Okay, that's smart.
And it says call in tomorrow. Talk about either trading or grasping nettles. So I can talk about either of those things. Let's talk about trade. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
that could be interesting.
What do you mean by that?
I think I meant that like I posted. What did I mean? What did Past MV mean? But I posted a new blog post. It was either yesterday or a week ago. I don't remember. When was that?
Time when it subtracts, you know what I mean?
It says 25th of December. That was 2 days ago. Okay, fair enough. And it was about trading in RPGs and how like that could be kind of more interesting than just exchanging currency for items. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. I was sort of inspired by my playthrough of Caves of Cud, which is like a roguelike game. Nothing too too interesting about it, but the trading system is based on water, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So you exchange water for items.
Okay.
But the cool thing is that water also has weight to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you carry too much, you can be like over encumbered.
Hey, water's pretty
So like,
heavy.
yeah.
Yeah.
As
And
someone
it's-
who went backpacking like over the summer, the heaviest thing in my bag was the water that I had to drink
Yeah.
to not die.
Yeah, exactly. And so like if I have a 1,000 like liters of water item. I guess liters doesn't work in the US, but you get my point.
No, we know about
Super
liters.
work. Yeah, we're leaders. We're not goddamn imperialists, okay?
I like gallons. I like liters. They're both the same.
No, fuck gallons.
Gallons are nice and big. A liter is like a manageable amount.
Hey, I want to hear in the chat, 1's for gallons, 2 for liters.
Oh
Show
my
me
god,
raising hands.
Jeremy's gonna start a
the
civil
poll.
war. Oh no. But it's like a lot of water, and if you're like selling an item that costs a lot, and you can't carry the water that it costs, like there's no point in selling it because like you just can't carry that amount of currency.
Mm-hmm.
And that idea was just very interesting to me, and like that made me think about trade in a different way. Like instead of, oh, I want to maximize my currency, it's, oh, I want to be smart about what I'm carrying and what I'm like giving away, what I'm leaving behind, what I can trade, etc. And that's what I wrote the blog post about. And there were just like a couple of ideas, which were kind of very standard, I think, in RPGs, like exchanging items for favors and quests. That I think is pretty, like in chat games, you see that a lot. If it's a special rare item, the GM would usually like give you a quest. So like if you want to find like a special magic sword, it's a quest. Like you can't buy it on the market. And yeah, just for some reason last week I've been like very just into finding cool ways for doing the sort of trade stuff in RPGs.
So the idea is kind of like replace currency as a like just a number of something.
Promissory notes, right?
With just like a different resource.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because like just replacing currency with another currency is like fine, but not what I was really
You're saying
like looking
change
for.
it with a contextual resource, right?
Yes.
Everyone needs water. Let's imagine the standard second Earth fantasy thing. Everyone needs water. Everyone needs food. Everyone needs shelter, right? So how do we trade for lumber? How do we trade for water? How do we trade for metal and ores and stuff like that? Like contextual resources.
Yes. Or
And-
trading for like favors or actions, etc. Like
and that could also be finite too, right? Like we can only give so much water, or else we won't have water for ourselves. We won't have enough. We need ore as well. We need wood as well, right? So, which is for like I always lately I've been viewing money or any currency as like a number value of a promise. Like, I promise to give you electricity if you give me 100 of this thing. Like 100 favors, 100 promissory notes, right? So that's how I've been contextualizing currency in my life lately.
Jeremy, you should read Debt, the first 5,000.
yeah, exactly. I was like,
Where's the Amazon link for that?
it's a good book. I would recommend it.
Yeah, it's like really up the alley of this conversation. At least the first
Yeah.
chapters so far.
And yeah, Jeremy is going in the right direction because like part of my sort of delve was into I call it, I think, the resource trading web or something like that. Yeah, in the post. Essentially, it's thinking about, okay, I have maybe 3 different regions. One has lots of water, one has no water, but it's like has a lot of salt or metal or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one has something different. And thinking about, okay, if the players get a lot of water from one region and get it to another region, that would like have immense value in a different region, right? In the desert.
So it's kind of like you want, instead of just having a currency or several currencies that have nothing except for exchange value, have things that do have use value that fluctuates
Exactly. Yes.
So like the use value is tied to the exchange value.
Yes.
But
and
because
yes.
it fluctuates geographically, like you could do some interesting stuff story-wise with like, you know, the example we're doing here, water is great.
People have
in
waged
the desert.
war on water, dude.
And they will again.
They will again. It's coming, dude. Hey, 2028, the fucking call-in army. Let's go.
Okay.
Also, something I just thought of, but I didn't write in the blog post, is like consequences of trade. Because, for example, if now you can't exchange like money really, but if I go to a trader and like, oh, I give you this magical staff, and you give me like the sword, and then you come back in like a week, and the trader just like absolutely destroyed the village with the staff, you know, because like they didn't know how to use it. So like also thinking about like what consequences your items might bring, sort of. And yeah, like even bringing like tons of water to a desert village, it will like make them.
I was keep finish what you're saying, and then I'll.
I want to finish. It's like you will bring them basically to prosperity, and thinking about like how the villages and settlements evolve when you like do trade networks.
Right, if you establish like a supply line of
exactly
regular water to a place that historically struggled with it. What was I gonna say? Shit.
Damn.
I was also thinking about the opposite though, too, of like.
Go ahead.
What happens when you don't continue a supply line for whatever reason? Like relationships break down or something, like the desert to water nation, right?
Yeah.
You maybe have 2 generations of really strong water supply to the desert. Oh yes, this is now, it becomes their regular lifestyle. And then some sort of new, I mean, this is an issue with like sovereign ships, but like a new sovereign ship arrives in the water bearing place. They're like, I don't think we need to be giving them any more water. What does that fallout look like? Because this generation is used to having water, and now they don't. So now it's kind of even in a worse situation because the supply was cut off.
Right, because they've built themselves up around having access to a thing, and almost certainly like lost a lot of the, at least collective understanding of how to deal without having it.
Exactly.
When you get used to a thing and then you take it away as a society, then like, oops. Like if you took away air conditioning from the southern United States during the summer, that'd be a huge problem because we stopped building buildings with like natural ventilation and wind catchers and stuff like that.
Ooh. I know what I'm building for a house or adjusting a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stick some wind catchers on there? I mean,
yeah.
We should do that. It's cheaper in every way. Yeah. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that you could do there, like depending on how not to say macroeconomics, that's not what I'm using the word
macroeconomics. Reaganomics.
How zoomed out or zoomed in you want to get on stuff. If you wanted to do like generations of trade and like arranging networks of it, that's super interesting. If you wanted to do like a micro thing, like you were saying about the you came across a magic staff and then you got it to somebody that knew how to use it, that's also interesting because where does your responsibility lie in that game world as like the arms supplier of the person that leveled the town?
There is not enough like magic arms suppliers
in my god
fantasy games. I'm serious. Like that's a huge conflict thing. I've fucking the big ones, Critical Role, fucking Dimension 20, like no one goes, well, I guess Brennan actually does like flying airships as magic item things, but anyways, like no one talks about the fucking enchanter or alchemist or wizard who's like, I made 10 swords of light today. I wonder how much I can get for these on the black war market. You know what I mean? Like, it's a problem.
There's like interesting stuff to explore with that. That's like,
and anyone can attune to it.
Like if you're gonna play in a world like a D&D world where like magic items exist, the magic of that game system exists, and it's like borderline catastrophic and terrifying for it to exist. I think it's good to explore that. I think there's a lot of fun to be had picking apart the pieces, or picking apart like the details, because I think the default mode of like playing a game like that is to just pretend it's all fine.
It all just works, you know what I mean? It's all covered.
Just pretend it's fine that I could like point my finger and then the fireball spell will explode over there. It's just normal.
Shit.
I could just set up.
You're a walking missile, dude.
They wouldn't let me on a plane if I could do that.
You're a missile that poops and eats. You know what I mean? Like Christ. Thanks.
Yeah. Anyway,
people are missiles. Yeah.
I will try to read that blog post because it does interest me, and I'd like to see what you came up with.
Yeah, it's quite tiny, and the like the
cute way to say that. Yeah, it's quite tiny.
It's a quite tiny blog post. The resolution I came to is like, in Caves of Cud, there's a thing that all the merchants like chill out in the desert. And well, the lore sort of says that it's because it's like a big route for like pilgrims and stuff. But I was thinking it's like, hey, but what if they're in the desert? Because it increases the use value of the water. So the value of the water that they carry increases. So their trading is more like efficient in the desert. Because like if they were trading in somewhere like where water is less valuable, then like they would be carrying tons of like useless currency. But like I just thought about that and then like understood that like in Caves of Cud that's not really possible because it's just like it's a video game. Like It doesn't adapt to everything you do.
Right, a video game not necessarily interested in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But in RPGs I think that's why I want to do it in like my game that I'm writing and in the setting. Because it's like you can have like infinite sort of like options and consequences coming from like thinking about trade in this way. So yeah.
Cool. What happens when the merchants start polluting? Instead of going into the desert, they go to like a town on a river and start polluting the fuck out of the river.
Oh no.
Exactly, yep.
And then it's like, hey, we're
water. The only source, dude.
We've got the clean water if you need it.
Yeah. No, everyone else seems to have poop water. We don't know what's going on.
Weird how that happens.
And then that mayor is like, we've never once pooped in our river. Not one time.
Oh my god.
Mysteries afoot.
All right. Well, MV, we've got a couple other callers to get to. Do you have any parting words, thoughts, or plugs?
Love y'all. Happy holidays. Go check out my blog post on www.hypertext.com. That's it. Yeah, it's neat. It's tiny.
Good.
Neat.
So tiny.
All right. See you later, y'all.
Get yourself
Wiedersehen.
Bye bye.
Choose. Here we go. Who's next? It looks like Discord user Viditya, friend of the show. Hello, welcome to the Tabletop Call-In Show. Thanks for calling in. Who are we talking to? You're gone.
Uh-oh. Viditya said, I don't want to talk yet.
I'm going to wait 1 second to see if any sort of message flies in from any direction.
Did you do that?
I don't think. Maybe I did. So let's try one more time, and if it happens
Let's
again,
try one more time. Yeah.
let's try.
Wait, DTS typing. Hold on.
I don't know why I cut. Great. Hello.
Bring him back.
Welcome
Bring him
to
back.
the Tabletop College Show. What's going on? You're muted.
You're muted.
Also, if you don't want to be. Maybe you want to be.
A text-only guest. That'd be crazy.
Now you're unmuted, but nothing is happening.
This is the Tabletop Collins Show.
Yeah, I've
this
said
episode
before.
Is sponsored by water.
Water.
Have you ever been so thirsty that you need a quenching liquid? Try water. Gathered from your local stream or lake, non-saltwater bearing. Get it today at your local locations.
And that's water.
Thank you for sponsoring us, water.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Without you, we couldn't do this show.
It's true.
Next
we literally got it.
Next week, I hear we have food sponsoring us.
Yeah.
Also a great one. What's going on here?
Yeah.
I've said it before, but it wouldn't be a call-in show if there wasn't things like this. So I'm happy to have it. But if there's anything I can do for you,
Marvin,
if you can,
Marvin,
hear
is
me.
the speaker on?
Yeah, get that air sponsorship, says Aaron. I don't know why it's not working.
How about this? Viditya, you play around with it and maybe we swap in for Donnie.
He said 1 second, so let's give 1
Okay.
second, and then I will engage with that plan, because that sounds like a good one. Has it been 1 second?
Viditya moved.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna pull in.
Pull
Pull me
Viditya back in.
Let's try it. How about now? How we doing?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Can you hear me now? I was on my
Absolutely.
phone and then it wasn't working, so now I'm on my computer.
Just straight sprinted.
Oh my god. Well,
Here you are. What's
Hey,
going on? How you
Viditya.
doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good actually. It's been a pretty good time. But the weirdest thing happened to me this morning. So I mean, I feel like both of you know, or I've been talking around. I got 2 new cats. I have 2 little kittens. They're very adorable. Lentil and Buckaroo.
I didn't know.
What?
I didn't know. I'm not on the Twitters.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm bad at it.
Well, I got 2 little kittens. And this morning, something really weird happened. So, you know, I wake up kind of late. I wake up on my own time. It's also the holidays. So I'm having a good time. Buppu, one of my cats, she often likes to sit on my chest in the morning. It's very cute. It's very nice. And then so she'll wake me up because I get disturbed. And it's usually really nice. And today I look at her. I wake up and she's staring at me right in my eyes. And it's different, you know, like there's a cognizance in her eyes that was kind of scary. And then she opens her mouth and I think she's just going to meow at me. But instead she says in plain English, straight to me this morning, she goes, "Vivi, I'm having a dilemma. I can't really seem to wrap my head around this. And it's a simple opinion that I think I just want other people to talk to me about." And I go, "Yeah, okay, what's up, Buppu?" And she goes, "Tags in tabletop RPGs, you know, the tag systems. Do people prefer it when tags have defined mechanics to them, or do you think a loose tag system is fine, or a mix? Where's the preference, you know?" And I go, "Yeah, you know, Bubba, I also have this problem too. And lucky for you, today's the Tabletop Collins show, so." You know, I'll ask this question to my good friends Adam and Jeremy. So yeah, I'm kind of relaying this as tag systems, you know, and my issue with it personally, I see where she's coming from because I'm having this trouble right now with my game Bloodbeam Badlands, where I have tags and sometimes I want them to do specific things because I feel like, you know, there's a language to the game that work with the mechanics, and other times I just kind of want players to just have fun with it, and I'm not sure if like a mix feels good, or I don't know, opinions, right? And then I'll yeah, she's not in the room right now, so I'll relay the message to her later.
Jeremy, you got any thoughts here?
I have so many thoughts. I have so many thoughts. All right, here we go.
Love to see the chat just immediately split.
Yeah.
User Gay Halfwork saying, "I love undefined tags," and at the same time the message was sent. Eldritch Mouse says, "Oh yeah, I want and need the mechanics with tags."
So, for me, tags are the same as magic in narrative writing. In like common terms, you either have soft tags or you have hard tags. Soft tags are things that help inspire other like nebulous things. Like my character has the tag of bulky. My weapon has the tag of messy, no matter what it is, right? A messy dagger, a messy maul, a messy whip. Like, why is it messy? Is it because it makes a bloody mess of things? Is it because, like, I just leave it all over the place? I don't know. It depends on the game. Then there are hard tags, like brutal, roll an extra die, roll an extra offensive die, or something like that. So like it's all I see tags as shorthand, and I'm going to come from a position of like trad tactical games because that's all I've been researching for the last 3 months.
Sure.
In work for Umbral Dive. So like one instance is isn't longsword a tag in D&D 5e? If you kind of think about it, what does that translate to? A 5-foot range weapon that does 1d8 damage and uses strength, right? Longsword is like in a way a tag for a weapon. The greater category is weapon. The longsword tag defines what it is, right?
Oh yeah, like it's innate. Like you can strip. Like what's the difference between? I'm coming from Pathfinder, right? Like what's the difference between like a katana and a longsword? They're both 1d8, 5-foot range, two-handed to one-handed weapons, right? Like,
yep.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. That's interesting.
Yeah, so when I think about tags, I think about shorthand language for tactical stuff, right? You take a little bit of time to like see the full sentence of the thing, and then you can build character sheets or other tools that have that shorthand language that people start to become familiar with over time. Like, I don't think maybe it does. I was trying to think on the D&D 5e character sheet, like, does it have spell slots? But it does have a categorical spell slot on it. At some point, you just learn what the bubbles mean. Anyways, I think tags are, in a heavy mechanical sense, a really good way of like parsing down language and creating a shorthand for everyone at the table, especially when combat takes so long, right? I swing with my longsword. Everyone around the table that understands what longsword means has like a defined, like, okay, this is math of 1d8 plus strength at a 5-foot range because he's melee, and that's the only reason that he's able to do that right now. And you can sort of like parse them, right? Or fireball, a spell is the same thing. Fireball is a 60-foot or 30-foot wide. I don't know how big fucking fireball is. A 60-foot range, 20-foot circle. Deals 6d8 damage. No, 8d6 damage. And anything that is not worn or carried is set on fire if it's a flammable object, right? Like that whole sentence, duration, damage, the save is all parsed into fireball, right? Once you get enough like mechanical brevity or not brevity, enough mechanical know-how for you and your table or you personally, right?
Yeah.
That's how I view tags. I view them as useful shorthand for mechanical things. As far as the soft end of things go, I feel like I'm pretty good at like the imagination space. I don't necessarily need a tag to prompt me, but a tag is still a word with a definition, right? Even like outside of games, when I say something like, "Oh, this is an adjective," right? And then what is the definition of adjective, right? Like, the definition is that it modifies this specific thing. Like, we get the shorthand for what this longer thing means.
Okay.
And then it all sort of like interconnects with language too.
All right. Yeah. No, because this is very helpful, and this is kind of why I was like, I want to talk about it because I have strong opinions on both ends of it. Adam, do you have opinions?
I like when they're mechanized.
Okay.
I prefer when they're mechanized.
I like when they're not mechanized also.
Unhelpful.
Okay.
Personally, I think it has to be all or none.
All or none.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't
Like
be sort of both.
If you want to mechanize a couple of them, you should come up with a different mechanic, I think, to get those mechanics through. So if you're only using like the word, if you're saying like these are tags that exist on things and you can make up new tags on the fly. So if you wanted to do messy was the one given.
Yeah.
You could not define messy and that's fine, but I think messy is a PBTA one that's frequently used that is defined as like I forget exactly but it's like it tears it apart. Like there's nothing clean. You can't hide what you did with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think like PBTA is kind of what confused me with tags personally because it's such like a narrative driven system. And then I played Monster of the Week and I was like, oh, there's like weapons have tags that make sense. But then for some reason in my brain, it took a second, or it still kind of takes a second for it to click where I go, oh, but these tags in Monster of the Week like have a mechanic to them versus like, can be used as narrative, like, oh, you have a messy tag, so I don't want to get a partial because I might do it, but it creates, you know what I mean? It's like, no, there's an actual mechanic to it. Mm-hmm. Which I don't think is bad. It's just I'm curious if I'm fluctuating on my own preferences,
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you trying to figure out like what tags you should use in a project? Are you trying to get like a consensus of your demographic who's in the chat right now? Like...
it's a little bit of the latter, but like this is specifically, I'm currently at this stage with Bloodbeam Badlands where I am defining like gear and tags, and I realize like there's some things that I think like work really well with the mechanics of the game. Like armor is an easy one, right? Like I realized that I had some mechanics that are kind of take a sentence to describe, like, or are a little clunky because BBBL has like sources, which are like a sort of like health tracker stress thing that like you take damage and then its number equals a success range, right? Like you want to roll under a source to succeed. And specifically like what prompted this was armor, where I was like, oh, armor is interesting because I can have a tag that gives something armor, and then it basically is like you can negate one armor for a source and you don't like lose it, right? Easy, like simple. But what was happening was like I was kind of spending a lot of words describing that in different mechanics when I could have just said, like in different abilities when I could just say like when you have this activated you gain armor 1, right? And then I was like, oh, and then there's other things like consumable, like these kinds of tags where I was like, oh, like consumable 2, which means like you get an item and you can use it twice and then it's gone or whatever, right? But then I was like, well, I don't want to like, and then this is where I was like, okay, this feels good for the game, but then my own personal, like, I don't want to write up a bunch of tags and come up with specific mechanics for them. Because like I kind of then want to make an item that has like a tag, I'm using quotes, like, or like a tag that is like magical, right? But I don't want to like define that personally. Like to me, I'm like, there's no interesting way for me to define magical for the game, other than like it could be interesting and maybe like it's a reactive tag. So instead of it being like, oh, kind of like in trad games where it's like, you have like enemies have magical DR, and so you need to hit it with a magic weapon or something. But in Bloodbeam Badlands, it could be other things where it's like, oh, this cuts through specific curses or whatever. So like that's kind of where I'm like coming from, where I'm like, oh, and the solution I have currently, which is why I wanted to kind of bring it up, was like hard tags are just kind of written out, and then like soft tags are like italics. So like I can be like, okay, like, if something has a soft tag, it is a narrative thing that you can pull from and maybe like use to get boosts, or the GM can, finagle for a difficulty and like all this stuff like that, right?
I think listening to all that, I'm walking back you have to do all one or the other. I think you do whatever you want. I think if you want to have a tag system in your game, as long as you're clear at the front, like, yeah, tags are a narrative thing, so they're all this soft tag thing that we're talking about. Like, unless specified, it's up to you to establish what that means in your game. I think that's totally cool. So if you wanted to leave magical to be like an open-ended thing for players to figure out what works for their game, that's fine. But then, consumable is one that like, no, I'm going to let you know what this one means. Here's the one page of things that like the game mechanics provided with the game specify. So like I've defined these ones. Everything else, that's up to you.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Because again, it really kind of goes into like, I will sometimes be like, oh, this is like a cool mechanic. And I don't want it to be like a whole other thing. So I'm like, I can loop it into tags because it's an easy thing to just plop in.
Yeah, just add another one that is defined on like the defined tags page of your book or something like that. Yeah.
And look at fucking Magic the Gathering. It is keyword hell in there.
Ooh. I like Gay Half-Organ Chat says, what if instead of tags, Viditia's game just has armors? My knife has the rusty armor. That's pretty fun. I like that idea of like the tags themselves kind of become spendable to deal with stuff. There's like a lot. I've been thinking about tags in general, not even just in Bloodbath Badlands, like games that are primarily tag driven, right? For narrative reasons. Like I think they're really interesting, but I see the pros and cons of them. Because it could be almost too much. Like, oh, my character has like 5 tags on them. How often can I draw from them? How much can I sway them?
Yeah, I was running a campaign of Heart the City Beneath.
Yeah.
And that game is pretty tag heavy for a lot of different things. And when your players haven't read the book in any capacity, they will constantly ask you what brutal means.
Right.
Every single time. So I guess there's also a conversation of when tags translate to another definition that is not known by the table, it can add a pretty heavy cognitive load for the learning curve becomes that much steeper.
Yeah, I think that's why I do prefer them to be specified, but I think if you're going to specify them, they should also be easily referenceable by players.
I agree.
Give me a little sheet. Give me a printout.
Yeah, give me a small little printout, dude.
Yeah.
Or 2, if you've got a lot of tags.
I was 4. Like, yeah. Because I was thinking, like, if your tag has, like, another thing with Bloodbath Badlands is I want it to be something that's easy for other people to make content for. Like, specifically at the table. Like, the GM can very quickly come up with something, and then, like, you can kind of reskin most stuff and have, like, loose definitions and stuff that mostly either just help you, the GM, or are, like, fun for the players. And so I was like, well, a tag, the GM would then have to like know what all the tags are and then kind of create in the confines or define a new tag. And then you would define it like under the item. Right. And so it becomes like unique to the table. And I just wasn't sure if like, I'm like on the fence about like, I like that, but is it clunky? And yeah. So, being able to be like, oh, I've like, cause I love making games where, you create designers, in the space, right? So like a player is like, can this thing have a tag that does this thing or have an ability that does this thing? And you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, or the GM is having a good time being like, whoa, this is my magic item and it's gonna do this cool shit, and I'm like, what's the easiest way to do that? And I like tag, like I like Tag City games because you can just do that, right? Like it's easy. You're like, oh, it's got the bouncy tag and that lets you, it's a rubber ball,
My
sword's a rubber ball.
My sword has bouncy it has piecemeal and it has grass.
And that's such an interesting, like, you look at this array of tags and you're just like, what the fuck do I have on me? And I personally enjoy that, right? Like, I mean, it depends on the game, but like, I definitely enjoy being like, the fuck? Shaggy, baggy, craggy.
Well, Vid, does that help?
It really helped. I think I really just like, this is something that I wanted to just kind of talk out because I was like, I don't know. And this is very helpful.
I thought this was a question from your cat. I didn't realize we were helping you on this.
Yeah, weird.
Well, like, see, Bumpu knows how much I've been struggling with this, and she and she just wanted to help me out. You know, it's like, I've been thinking about this for you, and I just can't come up with an answer. I'll let her know. I think maybe she's writing her own tabletop RPG. This will be a fun thing for me and my little kitten to talk about.
Yeah, whole household producing games. Some for humans, some for cats.
Some for cats. Yeah.
Now, where's the animal game design, dude? Who out there wants to take that on?
We have elephants that paint. Why not?
That's true. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? All right.
Well, this is super helpful. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah. Any parting words, thoughts, plugs, etc.?
Yeah, it was. I'm really happy that I'm able to catch the call-in show. It's been a little bit, so thank you for having me. You can. I'm Viditio Valetti. You can find me online at Viditio Valetti. And if you wanted to, the game that I was talking about, and this is for Blood Bean Badlands, is a game about being gunslinging vampires in the post-apocalypse world of an unsetting sun. And it's really fun and bombastic, and it's one of the games where I'm like, oh, I'm actually having fun designing again. That's fun. So I'm really excited, and you can check that out if you want at viditiovaletti.itch.io. Yeah, and then maybe, later this week you'll see where the fuck I landed on with tags, because I'll probably send out an update soon.
Great. Looking forward to it. I like that game quite a bit.
Yeah, thank you. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you soon.
Advidazan.
Also, you can catch Viditya in a quick nettle in Grasping Nettles. If you want to play Grasping Nettles in a place with little dinosaur buddies, Saurus City is the one for you. It's really good. Next caller, Discord user Donnie Dynamo, coming on in. I think first time caller, perhaps?
I think first time caller.
Hello.
Long time chatter.
Welcome to the Tabletop Call-In Show. Who are we talking to? Even though I already said it.
Hi there, I'm Donnie. It's good to be on. Thanks for having us open here on Monday.
Of course.
So the kind of core of the question that I have, I've been going back through a lot of the old Draw Your Dice stuff, so this is a little bit for Jeremy. I've seen, especially with the delivery of Tiny Library by Longtail Games, I'm seeing more and more collections and RPG bundles and RPG jams, and I'm curious if the two of you have any thoughts on how newer designers can best leverage those to just get people playing their game, right? Like, I'm not looking for fame or sales or downloads or anything like that, but I've got games that I'm trying to put out much like everybody else, and I'm curious how to just generate a player base. Like, I'm not somebody who has local people I can test with. Do you see those collections and jams as a good way to get it out there, or do you think it's more of a Discord and Twitter and individual, like, is there a way to kind of group all of these new designers and elevate them so that they're testing each other's things, right? So they're not kind of floating off in space alone. And are those current systems good ways to do that?
That's a really good question.
Great question. fucking good question.
Not easy answers, but we're gonna do our best.
Certainly.
Yeah. Do you wanna kick off this one, Adam?
Sure.
I got ripping hyped about tags.
I think my first thought on this is it's a really hard question to answer because I don't know if anybody's played my games besides a couple of things that I definitely know. I know that I've played them, and I know I've heard from friends who have played them once or twice, but usually you don't, and this is something that like could change and maybe would make a lot of designers feel better, but I don't usually mention whenever I play a game online, except for like maybe on this show. So you just don't hear about when people play your game very often, unless it's on a stream or something similar. So how to try to get people playing is a really tough question, because I think a lot of that would come down to fostering some sort of online community, either as a big group thing or as like for your stuff. Like a good example would be friend of the show Spencer Campbell has a pretty active Hilo RPGs Discord server, and a lot of people have played Nova and Slayers, and like they come to the Spencer zone to like talk about how cool it is. But if you don't have a zone that people are actively like talking about in, it's hard to hear about it. So I think that's like one method where you could hear about this, is to start. We got a little Clover in the chat, Spencer's dog. I think one thing would be to set up that, but like that could be pretty intimidating. I think I would argue, at least for me personally, like the easier thing would be to just join a community of people that like to play games or make games, and just like start trying to play everybody's games in there. Am I making any sense here? I'm kind of losing the plot.
I definitely, and I think I gave you guys an unfair double
No,
question.
there's no such thing as an unfair question. We will not tread in that mindscape. We will answer it.
It's a good question. It's just a tough one to answer, but a good one to think about.
And like what you just brought up, the individual creators having Discords where fans of their previous content are engaging with their new content and things like that. I guess aside from the whole how to start, and we've heard you guys with other guests kind of talk about how to begin building a community, but I'm curious if there's a way to kind of tier those communities up to each other without it becoming an unruly nightmare, right? Like that's a very strong community for Spencer's content or for Draw Your Dice or Tabletop Call-In, but those are inherently kind of self-sustained communities, right? Like people can find them from the outside if they're advertised or through word of mouth, but they are only exposed to their own content unless people are bringing in from the outside. Is there a way, without having some ugly mega Discord or the toxicity of a huge forum, that you guys can see of how to say, okay, cool, we have 900 Discords. How do we cross-pollinate them in some way?
This is where I was going to go with my conjecture. I don't want to call this an answer, because I think between Donnie and Adam and myself, there's basically proven in this moment there are a lot of different ways to go about getting your game out there and connecting with. I think for me, my answer, and I think I've been thinking a lot about this recently. I talk about this more and more today, of like collectives of spaces and like bringing together disparate areas. Disparate, is that the right word? Singled out areas, right? So like I think everyone is trying to start their own community because they potentially, I know you are coming from a place of altruism that you just want to know people are playing your game and kind of get feedback or eyes on it or ears to the ground or something like that. I know you're not coming at it from a income or resource exchange sort of mentality. But I feel like a lot of people, when they design their own space, it's because they want their own personal slice of the pie. And additionally, it's hard to corral all the cats, especially on the internet. Like, to do it in person is one thing, but to like reach on someone's Twitter or go to their Discord or like go to their email when they may not be. And for Spencer's example, Spencer's tweeting at least, I don't fucking know, like 12 times a day or some shit like that. Like Spencer is constantly visible on my feed and to other people's feeds. So that's the legwork of starting your own personal community. for you and what you're searching for, I feel like a lot of the energy is pointed in a collective's direction, just like Tiny Library. The reason why I love what Ash and oh my god, Ash and Gerard. No, Pritchard. Help me. Someone help me.
I'm not familiar with Title Library, so I'm Googling.
Yeah. It's long to. Anyways, I'll find
thing.
Giles. That's what it is. Whew. Pat on the back. Ash and Giles in Longtail Games. The Tiny Library project is really interesting, and same thing with Slayer's Almanac for Spencer. Same thing for the thing Spencer talked about on Coffee Break, the Paranormal Societies, Haunted something. I can't remember what the full name
Haunted
of
Almanac.
the project was. I'm sorry?
The Haunted Almanac by Nate Tremay.
Haunted Almanac.
Highland Paranormal Society.
Yeah, where that is just a corroboration of like their last set of like all the games they've made to date in a single book, which is really cool. I think collectives are really hard, but I think collectives is more the geared answer. So it's a big networking answer for me, or a big network like direction is like connect with people, just start every month, right? Just use like a month to meet one designer that you think you would click with. Just send a DM, send a message, and be like, hey, you know, do you kind of want to like try each other's games? We're both relatively new or something like that. I would love to like speak designer to designer, right? And then the other portion of this is when you're trying to get like consumers into the play. I think Adam's point about like, I don't personally feel like consumers of tabletop RPGs are very vocal, especially in the space. Maybe in Facebook groups, maybe in TikTok, maybe on YouTube. I'm not sure. And certainly on Board Game Geek, that might be true. But on Twitter, I don't think they're very vocal on that space when they're playing games. They're found a cool game. I think designers are apt to chatter about games they find that do interesting design, right? This is Slayers is interesting because it does this. Band of Blades is interesting because it does that. Ironsworn is interesting because it does this, and they're coming at it from a designer perspective. For consumers, they're just gonna play the game, play it with their friends. If their friends and them don't like it, they don't talk about it again, and they don't say why, right? And there's also that sort of like online fear of cold calling someone, be like, hey, I played your game, I liked it, I didn't like it, I didn't like this, I liked that, this is why. Like there's also a space for like knowing how to give critiques or feedback, or like talk in such a way with another about like your art piece here's my feelings on it, and in not like a destructive way, but more of like, this is just how my experience affected engaging with your art piece, right? So to full circle it, I think it's about connecting with other designers. I think there definitely is validity in bringing like smaller communities together into one like Crossroads server. I think that the Brain Trust is a really interesting Crossroads Discord server where there's a lot of different designers in there. They're all talking about this and that, and they engage in each other's stuff a lot of the time. And there's some pretty decent in terms of followership, some really cool designers in there that love getting in touch with people on sort of their level. So I'm sure if there was a Brain Trust that was more like in an indie space and focused on whatever sort of like size you're trying to connect with. I'm never saying that you can't talk to someone more, you can't talk to someone with less. I just think there's a natural gravitational pull online conversation between people in sort of the same bracket. I don't want to say hierarchy because I don't think there is certainly sort of like a bracketing of interest depending on the size. And that's also mainly from like a seller / like capital sort of content creator mindscape as well. So that's not completely valid, but that's my long answer. I think it's a very nuanced thing to talk about.
What you're trying to say there is it's tricky to navigate online spaces because they're made up and weird.
Yeah.
And also created with a capitalist framework in mind. These are platforms designed for somebody else's profit, and we just happen to use them to try to connect with each other, and that is tough to do. It's tough to force them to do that. But yeah, it is. There's a lot of pathways to try to do this. To try to find people to play your games either with you or without you. And you just gotta kind of try them and see what sticks.
And what works for you, yeah.
I could, like I said, I could count on my own hand probably one. I could probably only fill this hand with times that I know for sure that somebody has played a game of mine without me. But I bet, and I'm almost positive that it's much more than that, because like the games at least were in like they were in the big bundle. Was that 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. When was the big racial justice bundle? What is time? Whenever it was, where there was like thousands of games in one bundle. People were still like downloading games that were in there. It's slowed to a trickle now, but like there's still people just getting access to my games, and I assume that means they're looking at them. And if even a fraction of them are like, this seems pretty cool, they're playing them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a matter of they never mention it.
What do you think about all that, Donnie?
I mean, first, Buck, like that's a validation of experience, at least. Like I don't feel bad about the response you guys are giving me. It doesn't seem like I have, of my 6 games, I have, I don't know, 700 or 800 downloads. I have 2 comments and 4 reviews or whatever. So it's good to see that that's probably not atypical. I am curious. I am curious if Itch, as sort of like one of the main platforms that's shared, right? People have their own Shopify stores and things like that, but Itch and Drive-Thru RPG are kind of hubs of indie game content. I'm curious if, as new marketplaces in that style emerge, maybe more specifically made by the indie RPG scene, if community and discoverability becomes a priority, right? Itch was made for apps and computer games, and I'm curious if maybe we can build a system that encourages people to provide feedback more regularly. We would all kind of have to learn and grow and do that together, because it's not something a lot of people are going to go out of their way to do. But that's kind of what I'm going to take away from this. Not that perhaps my games need more plays, and maybe they are getting that and it's unspoken, but how to encourage myself and others to kind of bring their positive play experiences to the forefront of what they're sharing online, to kind of build each other up a bit and share the games and share their joyous moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely something to think about, because I'd love to see it. I like hearing when people play anybody's games.
Yeah, truly.
It's just fun to hear that people are having fun with this hobby that we all are staking a lot of our time into, and maybe putting our financial futures on the line of it. Who knows? Who would do something so foolish? It's me.
It's also me.
Yeah. All right. Well, Donnie, where can we get those games? If you want to.
Yeah. Tell us. Yeah.
Sure. So I'm Donnie Dynamo on itch.io, and the games I'm currently noodling on are submissions in the Longtail Jam's Tiny Tome Jam, which is still running for the next few days. Anybody listening wants to get in with a one-page RPG, I'm excited to see all the other submissions kind of trickle in and read through them. So get your games in, folks.
Awesome.
Thanks again.
All right. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Donnie.
Where's OBS? Okay. There we are. All right, we've got. What's that?
We did it. We're good.
We did it. We've got one more caller here.
Yeah.
We're bringing Raph.
Yes. I meant switching to OBS. We did it. That's what I meant. Not the show is over.
Okay. I'm just making sure. Just because if you got to go, because I know you have to go soonish. So, Raph, if you're listening,
Raph, it's go time.
We got obligations. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for calling the Tabletop Call-In Show. Welcome back.
What's up, y'all?
What's up?
I just had the disturbing experience of I was watching the show on my phone, and I'm like, well, I'm going to call in on my phone. But then in order to do that, I have to stop watching it. So I'm in this void where I'm like, I don't know what they're saying. It's going to happen at some point. And then I loaded, and I was like, oh, I'll switch on my computer at the same time. And for some reason, the UI is in Russian this morning for me, which makes no sense.
I've
At
noticed
all.
that, which is crazy.
Wait,
That's not just me? You're
No.
seeing it all in Russian as well?
Sometimes my initial load in is Russian.
I think I think it's great. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Get us used to some alphabets that we don't get to experience so often.
Yeah. Total juxtaposition.
How y'all doing?
doing good. Yeah, it's another day. The year is wrapping up rapidly. Doing the thing that it always does, which is accidentally triggers some self-reflection and thinking about what's to come.
Oh yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
You can't help it. There's a whole the biggest number in the date is changing, and so you gotta think about what that means.
Yeah, I try to procrastinate as long as possible in the self-reflection by calling into tabletop shows. Actually, oh, that's a whole new question about self-reflection now. But I kind of want to. So I had a question. I also kind of want to riff on the conversation that y'all were just having a second ago about getting people to play, how to know when people are playing your games. Two things. So one of them is I've had a really interesting experience of that with the Zone, because the Zone is digital, and so I can see whenever anyone plays the game.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask, actually.
Which is kind of a trip, actually, because it's not something that, when people say, "Oh, it's digital," you just see it. Like I think it took a lot of iteration to get to something where I could see it and it made sense, because I could see, oh, someone somewhere is doing something, but to know the difference between they're actually playing the game, or they're just checking it out, or they're clicking through, or whatever, I end up building this thing at the end of the game that summarizes everything that happened as a gift to the player, which then I also, they can share it and I can see it. And it's really cool in that perspective. That'd be a hard thing to replicate in a physical game, except that I feel like Jian Shim, like the whole concept of like keepsake games, I feel kind of does that a little bit. Like you can design a whole game so that after you finish playing it, you've got a thing that's easier to share. And I feel like games that do that probably have a better shot at, getting the message back to the source, if you will, back to the maker, that someone played it. And I think that can be a design goal.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, this is, so I'm a designer in my day job, and way back in design school, I worked on this was like a summer project, like summer internship, where we were working on an exhibition, and it was basically a bunch of these pieces of art around Chicago, and the art would be in the environment, and if you wanted to find out what it was, there were QR codes that stuck on the walls, and then people could check it out with their phones. And at the end of the Zone, I have a survey that like over 100 people have filled out, and it just made me think that in the physical world, people are typically willing or kind of interested, like they kind of want to know more. And so that could be another thing that you design into your game, like an explicit step at the end that's totally optional. It's like, hey, if you like this, like scan this QR code and go like give me a little bit of feedback, send me a little message. So I think a big barrier, I think there's a lot of people who finish the game, they're like, I kind of want to let the person know that I played this game. I thought it was pretty good. Then you just forget. You can't find, like, do I email them? Do I tweet at them?
Right, and that's kind of awkward. Do they really want to hear it? We do.
Yeah, we really do.
We do, dude.
Oh, God. Like, I've received, in, like, the years I've been making games, I've received, like, 3 emails from people who are like, we played this game, we had a good time. I have a folder in my Gmail with just 3 emails in it that, like, I treasure. I treasure this folder.
Yeah.
I think email is kind of stressful. Even if you're sending a nice email, it's super stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's become such a serious place.
No tone, dude.
Inbox.
Yeah. Yeah, and on Twitter, you have to, like, do you slide into this person's DM, and then and it's just like
too many emojis.
One has too many emojis, one doesn't have enough emojis. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's an interesting. I'm gonna have to think about that, like how to facilitate that a little bit, because I'm thinking now on the next project that I have. Legend has it, I do have one card that is currently not spoken for in like the game design. I used up 53 out of 54 cards to facilitate playing. That last card could be, hey, let me know if you had fun.
Yeah, throw feedback for him on there.
Yeah.
Currently, I just made a Joker with that little cartoon of my face. We could probably get rid of that.
No, please put that up on stream, please, for everyone to see.
Yeah, sure.
For the subs, dude. Subscribers can see this Joker version, Adam. I think, Raph, you unlocked something truly amazing here with that conjecture in the previous conversation of like keepsake or providing the tools that allow uses it often or requires you to engage in those things often.
Super hard.
It's muted, Jeremy. Goodbye, Jeremy. Uh-oh. Did you mute me? Did you mute
you're
my
probably
ass?
back. I don't think I set up the audio on the screen sharing zone.
Oh, so that's fine.
No.
Just like 10 seconds.
Yeah,
all I'm saying is Raph is real smart. I'm summing up for everyone who's back. Raph is real smart.
Y'all missed some gold from Jeremy right there. I think if you remembered one thing in this entire show, it's what Jeremy just said.
Yeah.
While he was muted.
Yeah, I can't repeat it. But no, I think the QR code thing is for sure like going into anything I make from this point forward. Like even like if I worked on supplemental materials for someone else, I'm like, hey, when you put my thing in your game, put this QR code because I want to see how the adventure went. You know, like because I think that's a really good idea. In Umbral Dive, I'm taking a lot from MMO. Like this is an immediate like riffing on that. I'm taking inspirations from MMORPGs. The bosses have time limits. Like you have to beat this boss in 2 rounds. So I could definitely do like a time attack QR code. Like, hey, when you get done with this encounter, how many rounds did it take you? Let me know, or that. Like, let me know what your time was for beating the boss. And like, I think that's amazing. I think it would get so like from the people who love mastery of system. I think it would go over real well.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I think what's interesting too is like some of this stuff is technically. Wait, you just had an idea. You have to say.
No, Dice had an idea. Dice, you genius.
Oh, that is a great idea.
That's a fucking wicked idea, my dude.
Which patterns?
Well, one of the ways, like do the QR code and get a random attack pattern or something. That'd be super sick. Because that's one way that you can get people to, if you want people to like leave a digital trace for you, like the best way to do it is to give them a gift. Like you don't want to do it in a one-way way. Yeah. Like all of this it's a reciprocal kind of transaction where people loved the game. They want a way to express that love, and then also it's useful. Another thing to think about too is like, well, where do you go when you click on the link or when you scan the QR code? And I think a good exercise that's worth doing is just to work backwards from the feedback you want to get, and just work out just write out every single step that someone will have to take to get it there. So if you're like, I want an email, then you have the email in your inbox. The previous step is someone sent the email. So how did they get there? Well, maybe they went to their email account, or they went to like a free Squarespace page with a little like box in it. And in that first one, they didn't have to log in, but you don't have their name, right? So each of those things like has some trade-offs. But you can design that.
Here's what I might actually add to the very last page of Grasping Nettles, which is currently just like, hey, thanks, is QR code. And what it says is, did you play the game? Did you enjoy it? Scan this QR code, and it will lead you, like, scan this QR code to, like, leave some feedback. And if you do, you'll also get a link to, like, a secret quick nettle or something like that.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes, secret content in the QR code is the sauce, dude.
So it'll take them to a Google form, which they can then fill out, and it'll have a question that's like, "Hey, if you want me to know your name, put it here. Whatever you want to. The next one, what did you want to say? Did you enjoy the game? Did you play the game? What's going on? Third one, can I share this feedback, like, publicly? Can I use a pull quote from this? Can I, like, and then they hit submit.
Oh, that's so important.
Gives them a link to, like, a PDF, which is a secret quick nettle, which now I have to write that. Damn
it. You could pull yours and then let that be
just yoink it out. No.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, then I have
you wrote the whole game.
Then I have 2 blank pages. Mine's only in there now because I shortened the rules text and, like, by combining sections, and then had a blank spread. So I put mine in there because I like it. Also, it's not just some shit.
It's secret.
Well, there could be another secret one. Yeah, this is a great idea. I'm glad it's helped me.
I think this is huge. I think you're really on to something really cool, especially in reference to Donnie's conversation. Like, because it's so hard to get people to comment on stuff, but there's sort of like a way to just sort of quick do it from your phone, like when you're comfortable or some shit. Like, the sky's the limit, dude.
Right. Text 94043 with "just played this game."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How do you even set that up?
We'll figure it out. That's the future of the tech here.
Just put your real phone number in. Hey,
yeah.
Give me a ring.
I would just get a burner phone, honestly. Just call me.
Oh man. It would kill to get, like, an actual phone call from someone who's just played your game and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That is the one.
Didn't
like, automatically, like, a Calendly link, books a time with you.
Yes.
Feedback session with Jeremy Gage.
Wasn't that a thing that if you completed getting over it?
Yeah. The Bennett Foddy game.
Over it. Wasn't there, like, some forum situation where you, like, got a call from him or something?
No, it just had his it started a chat thread with him. Like, they literally just, like, an SMS with his actual phone.
Such a wild thing.
Yeah.
I can't do that one at the, like, breakneck notice of I'm releasing Grasping Nettles probably this week. But for a future game, maybe something like that will be happening, because that's inspired.
Oh, and for Donnie too, like, I think another thing is, like, keeping a Discord community running is just so much work, and kudos to y'all for what you've done. Like, it's a huge community building thing, and, like, I've got his own Discord, and it's not particularly active. I'm not doing any of the community building work, but it is set up so that fairly frequently when people finish their games, they'll just, like, come in, and sometimes they don't even say anything. Sometimes if there's a bug, I've got it as the official, like, come here to report bugs, and the bug channel will just notify me at all times. It will notify me whatever the circumstances. It'll, blow an air horn next to my bed, that kind of thing. And that's led to a few different moments where someone came in, I just played your game, you can ask them some follow-up questions. I feel like also having the more channels and not worrying too much about, like, trying to make a big community or drag people over, but just having the channel there and just monitoring it, I think, is also really valuable. You can have to meet people where they are.
Yeah. All right. This has been good stuff. I think we do need to wrap up here for Jeremy. You're gotta get moving.
I gotta take care of a dog.
You got a dog to walk.
I got a dog to walk, guys.
But Raph, any last thoughts, parting thoughts, plugs, shoutings,
Yeah,
etc.?
not at all. Just always enjoy talking to y'all. Waving at I'm waving at everyone. Bye. Have fun. Happy New Year. If you want to play the Zone, it's at thezonerpg.com.
There you go.
Great.
Yeah. Happy New Year and all that.
Happy New Year to you. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. See y'all.
See you later. And that QR code designs going on the wall, Jeremy.
Going on the wall. It's good, dude.
Where's the button? Bye, Raph. I have disconnected you. That has been the Tabletop Call-In Show. Yeah, there's good shit happening there, and I'm excited to implement it immediately. I have to write a quick note today, I think.
Yeah.
That has been the Tabletop Call-In Show. I've been Adam Bell. You can get me on Twitter at AdamEBell. Get my games at adamebell.games. They're all on sale. Look out for the release of Grasping Nettles. If you're a backer, you should get that in your email inbox sometime this week. Fingers crossed. Jeremy?
I've been Jeremy Gage 5. You can find me. I've been Jeremy Gage 5. I'm Jeremy Gage. You can find me at Jeremy Gage 5 on Twitter. Draw Your Dice Pod also on Twitter. Look out for my new QR code game that's coming to you also. My mini game, but it's good, fucking good. Yeah, and you can listen to all of our VODs on YouTube. Listen to the Draw Your Dice podcast. You can check out many of our other affiliated alumni members, such as Adam and Spencer and the Brain Trust folk and Cinda and all these other people. Please go check out all of our call-in guests that showed up today. We wouldn't be able to do a show like this if it wasn't for people willing to call in. So thank you very much to everyone who participates.
Yeah,
and the
thanks.
beautiful chat as well.
And thanks if you're out there and you listen later, or watch the YouTube VOD, or pull it up on your podcast app of choice, because that's great too. Appreciate it. Sorry that the time doesn't work for you to tune in live, but somebody's got to get. So I don't have to explain.
Yeah,
to
we
you.
can't
You
be a
understand
24-hour
schedules.
call-in show.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe.
One day, if we get more anchors, we could be a 24-hour call-in show.
Or,
Just take shifts, dude.
Or maybe there will be one weekend in like July. We'll be on stream for 24 hours straight, or something like that. Who knows? That sounds awful.
Yeah, it sounds like a Weasley idea.
Come on now. We are leaving. I'm going to take us to the break screen, which no longer has our beautiful voices, so I can't do the funny thing where we shout bye when it comes up. So goodbye for now.
Bye.